We all have dreams for our lives, including ultimately our retirement. We want our golden years to be golden. We want to have gold in the account. We want to have a golden experience with our family. But too many people are having to settle for scraps during their autumn years when they work so dang hard their entire lives. There's another way. And in this video, I'm going to share it with you. So let's talk about the three, count them, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, und, 1, 2, 3. We're like trilingual here. We're gonna talk about the 3 steps to retiring rich with real estate. Let's go. Okay, step number 1 to retiring rich with real estate is to use your hidden assets. Yes, you have hidden assets. You don't even know where they are because they're hidden. It's like hide and go seek with your assets, but they're there. And here's what they are. Most people don't realize that your credit score is an asset and the income you generate from a job is an asset. Now, most of us think of assets as something that we accumulate, right? We accumulate it and it's set over here. But what if I told you that your credit and your income could be an asset? And here's why. Because when you do real estate the right way, you're largely going to use leverage, right? Leverage is where you go and get a mortgage so that the bank is paying for most of the property. You're only paying for a little bit of it. Now, if you're going to go do that and you're going to go get real estate at a really low interest rate that's going to perform for you over the long run, and you're going to use leverage and you're going to use a mortgage, the 2 most critical things that you need in order to get a mortgage and therefore to get into real estate easier is your credit score and your job. See, when you go to qualify for a mortgage or go to qualify for a loan, the lender wants to see a few things, right? The main things are what's your credit score and do you have verifiable income? Let me tell you what verifiable income is. So verifiable income is like if you go and you're a self-employed person and you make all this money and then you write everything off, right? Because who wants to pay taxes? I don't. You don't. But we have to, right? And so if we want to eliminate all of our taxes, there's all kinds of cool, tricky things that we can do with our accountant so that we can minimize our tax bill. However, when we go make a bunch of money and then we write everything off and then the tax return comes in and it says that we didn't make very much money, then the bank looks at that and goes, well, I don't know if you have the ability to repay a loan. So see, if you have a W-2 job, this is what we'll tell our clients all the time. Even our self-employed clients will say W-2 yourself an income because if you can do that, now you have something that you can show the bank so that they see that there's a good ability to repay the loan. Now, the other thing they're gonna look at is your credit score because your credit is nothing more. It's also sometimes called a FICO score, right? Now, all that is it is a grade. It kind of sucks that we have to deal with it, but it's a grade that tells the bank how likely you are to repay a loan. So these are hidden assets because they're not assets that we've accumulated that we feel like we can invest, but you can leverage your credit, you can leverage your income for a bank to say you have a good ability to repay a loan. Let's go get you a loan on a single family property that you can then pay back over time. And as soon as you get them there, it's awesome, right? Because now your tenants are paying the loan back. You're not even the one paying it back. So your hidden assets are something you need to leverage. Now, the second thing that you need to do when it comes to retiring rich with real estate, and this may seem overly simplified, but I promise this is absolutely critical. You ready for it? Work towards 1 investment property. That's right, you've got to go get your first investment property. Now, there's a couple ways you can do this. One of the ways, and what I did initially, is you do something called house hacking. Now, here's what this looks like. So I live in Utah, and in Utah, we have this cool thing where we can kind of rent out our basement. You may not be able to do that everywhere, so I'll give you an alternative in just a second, but let's say you go buy a home and it's got a basement apartment, okay? And you could rent out your basement apartment. Now, you go buy a property, you get a mortgage because you leverage your hidden assets of income and credit. The bank gave you a mortgage, you go buy a property. Now, you rent out the basement, and let's say that that basement rent takes up 2/3 of your overall mortgage payment, right? Let's say your mortgage payment's $1,500, but you can rent your basement for $1,000 or whatever it is. Now, how much are you paying to live in a home? You're paying $500, but here's the thing. You're getting all of the equity. You're getting all of the tax benefits of that home. Your tenants aren't. And so if you were to have that home for, let's say, 1-2 years, at least 2 years, you'd want to be in it for at least 2 years. And then you move from this home to this home, and now you do the same thing in this home, where you put a little bit of a down payment in, you rent out the basement, now you have 2 homes and you had significantly less out of pocket because you leverage your hidden assets so you can house hack. Now, here's an alternative to house hacking if you don't have basements. Now, this works probably better if you're single, but you could do this if you're married as well. Your spouse just has to agree. But let's say you have a home and it's got 4 bedrooms. Well, let's say you only need 2 or 3 of the bedrooms. Well, you could rent out the other 2 bedrooms to somebody else, or you could Airbnb the other bedrooms or something like that, right? You could do something so that that house creates income for you so you're not the only one paying for that home. That's called house hacking, right? That's one way you get your first investment, because that investment's gonna buy your others. Now, another thing you could do, and this is for some of our folks that have been working towards retirement for a while, is you could use retirement funds. Now, a lot of people don't know that you can use retirement funds to buy real estate. Here's the way that it works. If you have money in, like, let's say a previous 401k, right? You had an employer, you worked with them for a long time, and now you've left that employer, you still own your 401k, right? But you're not contributing to that 401k anymore because you're no longer with that particular employer. Well, that money you can now move into what's called a self-directed IRA, right? If you go to DFY-realestate.com, we've got all kinds of resources on what that looks like, but you can move it into a self-directed IRA, which means it's still a retirement account, but you can call the shots about where you want to invest that money. And you might be able to use retirement funds to be able to buy a home. Now, there's some things that we need to talk about on how to do that. There's a couple nuances, but just know it's available for you. Or if you already have a Roth IRA, or you already have an IRA, and for those of you out there, there's the IRA people and then the IRA people. I don't really know which it is. I say IRA. But for those of you that are IRA people, if you have an IRA or a self-directed IRA, it doesn't matter. It's the same thing, right? You can still self-direct those funds and use them for real estate. Now, the third thing that you could do as part of step 2, so this is like step 2 sub point 3, is you could use your home equity. Because remember, the most important thing is that you're leveraging hidden assets and then you're buying your first investment property, right? So you could use home equity to get your first investment property. Now, what that means is, like, let's say that you've had a home, and for those of us in this day and age, if we've had a home for a handful of years, chances are we've got plenty of equity in our property. Because during COVID and after COVID, we saw prices go crazy, right? And so if you bought that home before COVID, I guarantee you got equity in it, okay? And now if you have equity, there's a couple ways you can access that home equity. You could access it through a refinance. You could access it through a home equity line of credit. So you could take the equity that's in your primary residence, where you currently live, and you could pull equity out, and now that's enough to be able to go and buy your first investment property, okay? So number 1, you wanna use hidden assets. Number 2, you wanna get your first investment property. And I'm gonna share your number 3 with you in just a second, but before I do, I just wanna say thank you. I wanna say thank you for being here. I wanna say thank you for watching. It means a lot to me that you come and you hang out and that you watch these videos. And I hope you watch them all. I hope you like all of the videos, because these are all designed for you. We think through what we should be sharing. I don't want you to think that I'm just like hopping on here and I'm like, what do I wanna talk about today? We're literally trying to think, what could we share that would help you work towards millions in real estate? And so what we'll continue to do on this channel, we'll continue to share videos about how you can replace your income, how you can declare economic independence, how you can retire early, how you can create generational wealth for you and for your family. And we wanna help you find the best type of real estate to invest in. So this channel is for you, to set you up, to set your family up for success, to set you up for wealth that outlives you, okay? That's what this channel is for. So please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share this with anybody that you know and that you love, because once you share this with them, they'll be like, I think they really know and love me. You see how it works? Step number 3 to retiring rich with real estate is this: profit and grow to 10. Kev, what does that mean, profit and grow? Here's what it means. If you go buy a piece of real estate and that's generating income for you in multiple ways, like we've talked about on this channel before, right? That's what real estate does. You can profit on that property for a certain amount of time, and after a while, you have a couple options with that property, right? Because remember, you gotta leverage your income and credits, go get one. Once you get one, you let that thing work for you, and when there's enough equity in that property, you can either refinance the equity out and go buy a second property, or you could sell the first property and maybe there's enough money to go buy 2 properties. The idea is to move from 1 property to 2. Once you move from 1 property to 2, you give it a little bit more time. And then once there's equity and cash flow and all the growth that happens in your 2 properties, and maybe you can refinance equity out of those and get 2 more, or sell those 2 and go get 4. So the idea is, once you buy a piece of real estate, just your first property, utilize that profit. Don't just go spend it. Don't just get a nicer car. Utilize that money and use it and leverage it as a way to go get your next home. Because if you can get to 10 properties, you will declare a form of economic independence. I'm telling you right now, we have yet, in all of the people we work with, there is yet to be an example of somebody getting to 10 properties that did not have some level of economic independence. Because if you have 10 properties, you have millions of dollars of real estate and you're generating 6 figures of income in real estate. That may be all cash flow. Some of that may still be going out in mortgages and there's gonna be cash flow in addition to what you're paying on the property, but you have hundreds of thousands of dollars coming in every year, plus millions of dollars of real estate that you own. And the crazy thing about just getting 1 and then getting to 10 is it doesn't matter what's happening in the economy. It doesn't matter what's happening in the market. It doesn't matter who's in office. It doesn't matter what the interest rate is. It doesn't matter how fearful you and your friends are. It doesn't matter what the news is saying about how the sky is falling. None of that matters. What matters is that you bought 1 and you leverage that 1 to get to 2 and you leverage those 2 to get to 4. If you could get to 10, you could declare economic independence. So the 3 steps to retiring rich in real estate is number 1, leverage your hidden assets. Number 2, get 1. And then number 3, use that 1 to profit and grow to 10. There's a process and a way to do it. And if you are tired of the roller coaster environment that is real estate, right? The ups and the downs and what is gonna happen. It's really simple. All you need to do is go to dfy-realestate.com. Let's jump on a call. If you go to dfy-realestate.com and you click the link below, then we're gonna be able to help you figure out how to get the 1, right? Because that's all we need to do. We just need to talk and figure out how to get you 1. And if you already have 1, let's talk about how to get you to 2. If you already have 5, let's figure out how to get you from 5 to 10. Because once you get 5, there's a lot of potentials that open up for you. So what I want you to do is I want you to click the link below, go to dfy-realestate.com, click and request a call, and let's talk and let's figure out how to leverage your hidden assets. Let's figure out how to get you your next investment property, and let's figure out how to leverage that to get you to 10. Remember to subscribe, come back to this channel. We have a lot more to share with you, but we're signing off for now. See you soon.